Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching another video. So it's finally time for me to replace the rack and pinion in my 1998 Corolla. Just remember, guys, I'm just a DIYer. None of this should be considered professional advice. If you're not comfortable doing any of these repairs, go seek help from a true mechanic. Now, before starting the repair, here are some things to consider. Number one, you might want to flush out the power steering system before you install a new one. You can always do it afterwards, but I think it's a good idea to flush everything out beforehand. And then another thing you might want to think about are all of the parts that you might want to replace because we're already doing this repair. For example, your power steering fluid reservoir, it might be old, could be brittle, it might spring a leak later on and it's dirty, so you want to stop that dirt from getting into the new system, so you might as well replace that. I had to replace my supply lines because power steering fluid was seeping through them, and we're going to be removing the rear engine mount, so you might also do that if you haven't done that already. And any part that's attached to your suspension, like your tie rods, your sway bar links, things like that, just kind of think about that as you're doing the repair. First thing you want to do is drain the power steering fluid from the system. Now, if you're thinking about using a turkey baster, kind of difficult there, so you're going to have to sneak a hose down in there. What I did was just unhook the hoses from the rack and just let it leak out the bottom and catch it in a pan. Now, you can remove about 80% of the things that you need to get to without jacking up the car. And I prefer to do that because it's safer. You don't have to worry about getting up on stools and worry about the car being up on jack stands. So let me show you how I did that. First thing I did was remove the battery. You're going to have a 10mm hex bolt right here. So you're going to need a 10mm ratchet and an open box wrench, also 10mm. And then you can remove your battery. Next, we're going to remove the airbox. It's going to be sitting right here, but before touching anything, you're going to look to the right side of it and you're going to remove three things. Now, on the right side of your airbox, you're going to remove this sensor, this hose, and this bracket right here that's going to be attached to it, and that's going to be a 10mm nut. Here's a plan for taking out your airbox. The first thing you're going to do is loosen up the clamp that's holding the hose down. Then next up, what you want to do is just flip these two clips down, and then you're going to lift this top cover off. And here's where you got to be a little bit careful because sometimes these hinges get very brittle. So you want to take your time in lifting it. And then once you get it free of these hinges, you can just wiggle the hose free. And then it'll just look like that with your air filter down here. You can see the intake hose is still in place. Then at the bottom of the airbox, you have three 10mm bolts holding it in, so you need a 10mm ratchet with an extension. Now, I don't know if it's necessary to remove all of this. I just wanted as much room as possible to put wrenches and hands in to get to the two supply lines down at the rack where that little blue paper towel is right there. Here's one of your engine mounts, by the way. Next up, we're going to go after the rubber boot that's covering the knuckle that was right there. Here's a look at the rubber boot that is covering the steering knuckle. It is held into place by 5 10mm bolts. And because we removed the airbox, it's very easy to get your arms and hands in there. Just a 10mm ratchet with a 3-inch extension will do. Once you got it loose, all you got to do is tilt it sideways like this and move it to the left, and it'll come out. All right, let's go after those supply hoses now, which can be a little bit difficult, but with the right tools, I think it'll be okay. So let me drop you guys right in here. Okay, I'll turn you guys sideways. So right there is where the rubber boot was. And what we're gonna do, I've already disconnected them, but right there, these two holes, there and there, are where the hoses connect. And let me show you what tools I use to get them out. Alright, as you're starting your tippy-toe ballet routine to look into your engine bay, you're going to notice two hoses that are plugged into the rack. This one is going to be on the inside, which is closer to the cabin, and there's one on the outside, which is closer to the headlights. Now, I noticed that there was a hose coming from the passenger side into this one, so to make more space, what I did was I just unclipped the hose, pulled it out, and just left that plugged into the rack. Alright guys, this next tip is going to save you guys a lot of heartache and sorrow. So the outside bolt for the hose is a different size than the inside. And I'm not sure if it says it in the repair manuals. I don't have one of those and nowhere online did I find it. But that's a 17mm flare nut. Slip it on there. Look at all the play. in there. And the last thing you want to do is round those out. So when you're going after the outside one, make sure you got a 16mm wrench or 5/8. All right, so here's the two different methods I use to remove the outside hose, because once you remove the outside one, the inside one is very easy to break loose. So first time I did it, I used this 5/8 stubby, and when you're looking down at the hose, you can't tell, but it's slanted in a way where you can get the handle of a wrench in there. So once you figure out how to get a good bite in it, got it locked in, and I had a long metal pole and I just hammered it down until I broke it loose. So that's one way you can do that. And then the second time I broke it free, I had this 5/8 flare nut wrench with a little bit of offset there. And the length is going to be important, right? You can't have it too long. So this measures about 7.5 inches. So right about there or a little bit shorter would be good. It gives you enough space to fit it on there and give you enough leverage to break it free. All right, guys, that's pretty much everything we need to remove from the driver's side, with the exception of two things: the one bolt that's holding in the steering knuckle and the one bolt that's underneath the rack, which is attached to the bracket, but we're going to save those for last. Let's go to the passenger side. All right, we're on the passenger side, and we're going to remove your cruise control actuator because these lines are blocking this space, and we need to remove 3 different heat shields. Really easy removal. Just got to remove 3 10mm bolts and 1 electrical connector, which I just kind of hit up here. And we're going to just move this on the side. Now we got all this space. Okay, here's a look at the heat shield that goes around your exhaust manifold. You have 6 bolts and they are 12mm. This one is going to be a little bit tricky to remove. So is this one, because it's going to be facing this way and you're going to be reaching around this way. So it helps to have a ratcheting 12mm offset wrench. Then you got this guy that's on the firewall, really easy. You got 2 10mm bolts here and then 1 10mm bolt on the bottom. That one's going to be real easy to come out. And the last one you got is attached to the rack and pinion area. You got 2 10mm bolts here and here. Now, the way you get this out is you're going to be looking at it like this from this angle, right? So this is the passenger side, that's the driver's side. It's going to be sitting like this. You got to slide it down like this underneath the car, push it out toward the driver's side, and then lift it out that way. So if you're looking at it from the front of the car, like this, to the driver's side, and out that way toward passenger. Hope that helps. Well, all right, guys, we've pretty much removed everything we can from the top right now. The only thing holding in the rack right now is that bracket right there. And there's a bolt on the top and a bolt on the bottom, and we can get to it from up here. And there's another one right over there. We can get to the top one, but not the bottom. We're going to have to do that when we lift the car. Also, a good idea to remember to order replacement bushings for those, because you don't want to use the old ones. Now, we got to keep it in place. We can't remove it yet because we want to make sure that we remove the tie rod ends from the tires first. Then we can kind of go about releasing these and getting out the rack. But stay tuned to part 2 when we jack up the car and get underneath. Thanks for watching, guys.